Hello and welcome to Greeting Mashiach, episode 6. I'm Levi Palachenko, this is Simcha Fish. Today we're going to talk about the Shlichus that the Rebbe gave us. The last time the Rebbe spoke to the Kinnis HaShluchim, Ha'ilami, Tavshin and Beis, the Rebbe spoke a Sicha about the new Shlichus, being that we're in a very, very special time. We're in a time where we have Yom Mashiach, where we have this inyan of Melech HaMashiach, and we all have a mission. So the Rebbe said, what is our mission? What are we supposed to do now that Avodas Habirurim is finished, Hafatzas Hamayonis is finished, which was the whole concept of Shlichus, was to finish the Avodas Habirurim and finish Hafatzas Hamayonis, spreading out the wellsprings of Mashiach, or of Chassidus. So the Rebbe says, the Rebbe lays out that being that we already finished all that Shlichus, we have something new. There's a new Shlichus. This new Shlichus, the Rebbe says, is L'kal b'pnei Mashiach tzidkenu. Now, what that means, very simply, it means that there's someone that is coming, there's a king that is coming, and you have a guest over, for example. And, you call for dinner at 7 o'clock. You're getting the house ready for the dinner. And at 6:50, you get a text message, I'm on my way. And you ask, what's your ETA? How long do you think you'll be here? And the person says, I'll be there in about 10 minutes. So what do you do for the next 10 minutes? Yeah, the whole time you've been cleaning the house, you've been preparing the dinner. You're not going to start preparing the dinner then. The dinner is ready, everything is ready. But now you have to start getting yourself not only mentally ready, but physically ready to greet the person that is coming. And so that is our shlichus. That is what we have to do. I think it's a good idea, being that we're talking about these things and they're not things that are coming from our own understanding and our own way of looking at things, but rather they come from the Rebbe. I think it'll make it easier to understand if we read, or we look inside to what the Rebbe said in the Sicha, in that very Sicha.
Yeah, absolutely. I always highly recommend that nobody trust me on my word, or anybody else for that matter, but things like this that have a clear makar, that from the Rebbe, learn this Sicha, learn the whole Sicha, learn the whole context, whatever you want, learn it yourself instead of hearing it. Whenever you hear something interesting from someone else, always look it up yourself, learn it so you understand it, and it's clear to you. But yeah, this was, still is. I consider it to be probably, I know we can't judge these things, but in Pashto, simply speaking, probably the most, if not one of the most important sikhs as far as relevance is concerned. This sikha is l'chayra, I don't know how we can measure these things, but in simple terms, the Rebbe here lays out the shlichus of our times. So it's incredibly important. It's not something that just another sikha like you have. There's I don't know how many sikhas there are in Parsha Chayesara, but also so this is one of them. No, this is the most the most fundamental sikha of our times, and therefore it's integral that everyone learn it and understand it. And if you don't understand it, ask, like the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, ask people, ask mashpiyim. That's their job. That's why they're here. And if they tell you that it's Himmlish, tell them that's not a good enough answer. And really figure it out what exactly it means. So I don't pretend to know all of the answers or know exactly what everything means, but I can attempt to convey my understanding and how I see things, and see if it makes sense to anybody else. So, if you remember the Sikha the week before, the Rebbe drops a bombshell that we were successful in the Kiddush Levana asking for Mashiach, and therefore the Eibishter has actually sent Mashiach, and now we just have to be Mekabel Pnei Mashiach Tzidkenu. Who is this? This is the Ein Tzika Mashiach Shabadar, the being that we're finished Avodah, now Mashiach, now Hashem sent Mashiach, and we have to go greet him. And the Rebbe kind of left it at that. The next week is the Kinnis HaShluchim. And the Rebbe starts off, we're standing here, because the Kinnis then opened with the Rebbe's Sikher. The Rebbe says, we're standing at the opening of the Kinnis HaShluchim, and we got to come out with what is the tafkid of the Shluchim in our generation. The Rebbe says, and specifically the Chiddush that came specifically more recently, and more recently means last week, the Kabul Pnei Mashiach Tzedkeinu B'Gula Mitzvah Shlema, because this was, that was the first time the Rebbe said that's now the Shlichus that the Rebbe said last week, and the Rebbe says that is what we're just speaking about. This is this new Shlichus. So the Rebbe says, let's talk about that basically. As the Rebbe says, there's always Kedushim and Shlichus. You have all the Mitzvahim. I mean, the Rebbe doesn't go into details, but you have all the years there was Mitzvahim, there was different mitzvahs. And if you look in each time period, whatever the mitzvah was then, whether it be Eis B'Sefer Torah, Neshek, Mitzvah Tefillin, whatever the date was then, it was all consuming. That was, so to speak, the shah that everything went through. So when the Rebbe was writing letters, he was writing, surely you're doing Neshek, encouraging about that. And the Shlichus were about that. And that was, at that moment, that the Shlichus was about that. Everyone was busy with that. Every Shlichus had its time, and that was the main focus. That even though everyone has a lot of activities, it all, so to speak, went through this pathway. And this is obviously, we're not the Rebbes, we don't know how this works, but this is all very spiritual. This is the shar through which the whole Shlichus goes through. So the Rebbe says, what we're talking about now is even bigger than that. I'm not just saying a chiddush like that, says the Rebbe. We're talking about a chiddush kloli ve'ikri, whatever that means. It's general and it's main, that it's not just another prat or another klal, says the Rebbe. This is an ikr and an Indian kloli. This is the most general, the most important thing in Yiddishkeit. We're preparing for the coming of Mashiach. And this has to take over every prat and every nekuda of the entire Shlichus. So every single part of the Shlichus, says the Rebbe, needs to be full of greeting Mashiach. And says the Rebbe, we spoke many times that we finished Kol HaKitzim, we finished all the Aveda, we're done everything, and we did Tshuva as well, famously, and we're standing ready to greet Mashiach. What does it mean, greet Mashiach? You always hear, we're going to go greet Mashiach with a Tanya, we're going to go with the Zohar, or we're going to give Shalom to Mashiach, or the kids are going to go in the front lines, they're going to greet Mashiach first. We have all these pictures in our mind, how it's going to work, but of actually greeting Mashiach. But you have to prepare yourself to greet Mashiach. You have to be ready to do that. So that was telling us, I think, it could be we're done earning that Mashiach should come, but he needs to come to a proper reception. When you had a new Rav come to a city, you made him a reception. There was a big feast. Everyone got ready. Everyone put on their Shabbos clothes. Everyone went to literally to go greet him as he was coming into the city. If you can imagine, he comes in and nobody cares, no one does anything. He's coming anyways. He's coming to be the Rav of the city, but it's not the Chavadik. So to speak, now we're in the Skufa. We have to get ourselves ready to go actually greet Mashiach. He's ready to take us out of Golos, and we gotta make ourselves ready. Says the Rebbe, that's what the Shlichus consists of now. To be ready, b'payel, to bekabel zayin pnei Mashiach Tzedkeinu, b'payel mamish, in actuality. Till now, it was always some distant future thing that's going to happen that we waited for at any moment. But we don't know. We didn't know when Mashiach was going to come. We didn't know when we were going to earn it. So we were hoping we were doing mitzvahs to earn Mashiach, to earn the Geula, and then we'd go greet him. Says the Rebbe, now it's Ayin Peyel Mamish to get ready to go greet him because he's here. And says the Rebbe, so that's the Shlich. Says the Rebbe, therefore it's understood that is the point of this Kinnos. And this is, in all the years after this, it's always written down, this is the official point of the Kinnos, to come together and come up with eitzes and achlatas, how to fulfill the unique Shlichus of our time, Kabbalah's Pnei Mashiach Tzedkeinu. This is at the heading of every Kinnos since then, I believe. This is where it comes from. So, Leji, what do you say about that? That is the Meisei of the Kinnos.
I think that's pretty big. It's the Rebbe was changing the game. The Rebbe was changing the whole goal, the whole reason as to why everything that we live, our entire life, is now different. The reason why we do things is now different. So I was having a discussion about this year by the Kinos, and we're trying to understand what is it. When you bring this to someone and you say that this is what the Rebbe this is what the Rebbe said in the last Kinos, he was changing the game. you know it, some people are trying to understand what does that mean. I don't understand what that means. It's not, you know are we doing things different? Are we supposed to do things different? And what a lot of people do, instead of asking, instead of trying to figure it out, and instead of trying to put our heads together and brainstorming a way to really bring this about, instead what ended up happening was we just went our separate ways. You think you know what the Rebbe said, so you do what you think. I think that I don't know I don't really understand what the Rebbe said, so therefore I'm going to go to what I know, which is what the Rebbe had said for the past some odd years, 40 years, and we'll just do things the way we've known to do things, and that's generally what happened.
If there's
And I
one
think
thing
I
that's most important, yeah, that everyone actually figure out what's going on over here.
And the Rebbe said that, being that this is now the point of the Shlichus, and what do you do during a Kinnis Shlichim is you put your heads together and you figure out a way to, whatever the theme was for this year's Kinnos, put our heads together to make good hachlotes, to implement those themes into our year. The Rebbe said that that's what we should be doing. We should be putting our heads together, and we should be figuring out ways that everything, like the Rebbe said, what does it mean that now the point that the shlichus is to be mekabel pnei Mashiach tzidkenu? The Rebbe said that everything that you're doing until now, not only you should continue doing it, but you should do more. Like the Rebbe always said, do more. The Rebbe never said whatever you did is enough. The Rebbe always said to do more. But what the Rebbe did say is that now, being that the whole ikar of shlichus, the whole fundamental reason as to why we're doing things is different, is for a different cause, so it should translate itself. You should see it in your actions. When you make a Hanukkah event, when you make a Purim event, when you make a Pesach event, when you make a summer, either a camp or a trip to Eretz Yisrael or a trip to Crown Heights, Shabbos in the Heights, all these things you should recognize that the matara, the goal of Shlichus, is lekabel pnei Mashiach tzidkenu. So when you see a flyer, I think the easiest way to recognize what's the main thing about a person, what's a person trying to accomplish, you see it in the way they, either in the classes that they give, or in the way they give, in the way they make flyers, all these things.
Yeah.
A perfect example we had last year in Shnas Hakel. Last year in Shnas Hakel was the year of Hakel. So everything was, we're making a Hakel event. Purim, we're making a Hakel Purim. Hanukkah, every night of Hanukkah, we're making a Hakel event. Hakel was literally placed on every single flyer throughout the entire year, because
Yeah.
it's Shnas Hakel. It's the year of Hakel. So you see that there is a focus.
I saw it also more recently, more on a more sadder note, with regards to the situation of Achenu b'nei Yisrael in Eretz HaKodesh. Um, Certainly, as closer to the time after Simchas Torah, when the whole thing started, every event was in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in the Holy Land. Hanukkah this year was the same thing. The Hanukkah events was in connection and solidarity, and it wasn't just on the flyer. It was also at the event. Everyone said a kapitel Tehillim or something was dedicated to that, and it was a lot of the people came because they felt that I want to be part of it. I want to be connected to what's going on in Eretz Yisrael. It really made a difference, and the whole event is imbued with a different spirit. It's something that's possible. People just don't. This is obviously the last battle of the Yetzer Hara. Is this dying ember is trying to fight, so people have these fakas, What do you want me to do? Well, the whole Yiddishkeit is Mashiach. What do you mean? What should I talk about? They get all flustered. They don't know what to do. So here you see examples. What it looks like. It's possible. It's doable. Just like if you can do it about the Hakel and you can do it about the Matzav and Yisrael, certainly you can do it about Mashiach. In connection with Mashiach, Kabel Panei Mashiach Tzidkenu. It doesn't. People want to hear about Mashiach. People are open to hear about Mashiach. So often, our biggest critic, biggest doubter is really just ourself. We're the person we have to get past. We're the person who is not really sure if we're that into Mashiach. But when we learn about it, and that's always the advice that Rebbe gave, Shlichus, to learn the koyach that Torah has, especially Torah about Mashiach, to open our minds and our hearts that we should feel about this and care about this, understand it. So learning Torah about it, if it dvarim hayetzim eleven and we care about it, you'll have no difficulty in conveying that feeling over to someone else. If you're inspired about it and this matters to you, it's contagious, and they'll care about it. They'll see that wherever you are, and the Rebbe says here, everyone's a shliach, but particularly shluchim. The whole Judaism is whatever you say. You are Judaism. If you say this is what it's about and this is what it's about, if you're confident and you care about this, then so are they. This is really up to each and every one of us. That's the real battle, that we should really care about it ourselves. We should be convinced that Mashiach is a real thing, and he's really coming, and we really have to go get ready to greet him.
Yep. So another interesting thing that the Rebbe says in the Sikha is that the Rebbe says that the last thing that is left to do, we have Melech HaMashiach, we have all these things, we have the Eskalos, so to speak. We know Bechol Devadara, Yesh Echad Mizar Yehuda. So the Rebbe said the last thing that is left in Avodas HaShlichus is to be Mekabel Zayin Pnei Mashiach Tzidkenu Bepoil Mamish. And the Rebbe says, in order that Mashiach can fulfill his Shlichus, Bepoil, which is taking us out of Golos and bringing us into the Geula. So I think this is, in addition to what the Rebbe said, that every single person is a Shliach, is the Rebbe is empowering us and telling us that, yes, Mashiach can come and all these things, but there's something missing. Mashiach himself does not have the authority to take us out of Golos. The Mashiach himself, a person does not have the authority to start making rules, to make the rules of the land. The only way he can get the authority...
I don't know if it's authority. It's like I don't know if it's authority. I don't really know how it works. Yeah, I guess that everyone's used Lashon about building this mikdash a few weeks later. That how is it we didn't get the tzivay to build this mikdash? I guess, there's a authority, the wherewithal. I don't know the behind the scenes workings or what it takes.
The ability.
But the ability, whatever
Correct.
it is. Yeah.
The ability, right? The ability to start changing things, to start doing all these things. Yes, even though Hashem already appointed Mashiach, and even though we already earned the Geula, but there still has to Olam Kimin Haganayeg. The world continues going in its regular natural state, which is a king cannot walk into a room full of people and say, I am your king and now you have to listen to me. It doesn't work like that. The people have to subject themselves towards the king. And only then can the king start doing whatever a king does. So when the Rebbe says that we have to fulfill our shlichus in order so he can do his shlichus, we literally need to give him the power. Mekabel Pnei Mashiach Tzidkenu literally means to accept him as king, to accept him as the person, the physical manifestation of Hashem's melucha, of Hashem's kingship in this physical world, so that he can now go and take us out of Golos.
Yeah. Some people take they still have a difficulty understand the whole thing, wrapping your head around it. So there's a mashal I heard once. I mean, it's barely a mashal. It's pretty much what it is. Probably even before the mashal. This is not a foreign concept. This is a very normative concept to Yiddishkeit. Of if you understand what a melech is, that's really the whole Rosh Hashanah. We spend the whole Rosh Hashanah crowning Hashem as king, and you learn Chassidus on it. It explains the whole the behind the scenes of how that works, of how the sphere of Malchus works, how Malchus needs to be built, it doesn't have itself, how a Melech works. These are all very fundamental concepts to how Melucha works, that it needs to have a people. So this isn't a new concept that a king needs to have a people that want him to be king, that are following him. That really makes a lot of sense. And so there's a mashal on this concept that a king, I say it's barely a mashal because it's the same story. It's about a king who needs to be king. That's really what Mashiach is. But he had one of these kings from a fairy tale, from the king who all the people love him and he grants everyone everything they want. And he made, so to speak, a contest in his kingdom that whichever town of his choosing is going to be really model citizens. They're going to be perfect citizens. They're going to be the picturesque town. They're going to be perfect. He's going to grace their city with a visit. And that would be everyone's dream come true if the king would come. And everyone would live happily ever after. So there was one town in particular who really, really worked very hard on training everyone to learn all the laws correctly and being law-abiding citizens and treat each other with respect, to really be a perfect town. And after however long the contest lasted, the king sends them a message that they have won the contest, and or whatever it is. I don't know if it was a contest, maybe it was just for their town. But however you want to say the mashal, the king informs their town that he has graced them. He's going to visit their town. They've earned it, it's for sure. As a matter of fact, he left his palace and he's on the way. He's on the way there. You could imagine the townspeople, after hearing this, they were on cloud nine. They're ludicrously excited, happy, ecstatic. They're literally fabrengi, dancing in the streets. You had the famous joke about Mashiach comes. They heard Mashiach's coming in a month, so everyone's getting ready for Mashiach to come. So the Mistagdim are busy making a pilpul. The Chassidim are busy fabrengi, and Mashiach comes. Eventually shows up. He goes to the Beis Medrash. He finds there all the Mistagdim, and everyone's all asleep over this water. So he he wakes them all up. They're all straightening the ties. Shalom Aleichem. They're all very excited, and he says, "No, what do you got for me?" So the Rosh Hashiva goes up there and he starts giving his pilpul, starts giving his share. And after he's done, Sheikh goes, "Yeah, I've heard better. They said you only gave us a month. You had to give us more time." Fine. Then Mashiach goes to the Chassidim, and they're all sleeping. They were partying for begging for a month. They're all out. So he wakes them up, and they're all excited. Shalom Aleichem, and he says, "No, guys are verbrengen. You have some l'chaim. You should have came a month ago. We're all out." But yes, so you can imagine the whole town. Everyone's very excited. Everyone's preparing. Everyone's getting ready, and of course, everyone is keeping the laws. Of course, everyone is being good citizens. But now it's imbued with an entirely new spirit. The king is coming, even if they don't keep the law. The king is coming anyways. The king is on the way. The king is coming to their town. That's nothing to talk about. They've earned it. The king is coming. But what's different now is the whole spirit, the way they do everything, the way they wake up in the morning is different. The way they go to sleep at night is different. And if you can imagine, if a new person came to visit the town, he's coming to stay there, he's moving to town, imagine they would not tell him the king is coming. All they would tell him was about the contest and just tell him about being a good citizen so the king would come without telling him the king is already on the way. It's ludicrous. The very concept is insane. You'd say this person is crazy. It's criminal not to tell the person that the king is coming. The whole point is to get ready right now. The king is. How do you greet the king? Well, what do you do? They're painting the streets. They're painting the houses. They're preparing for the king. They're laying it all out. The king is coming. They're making signs. They're learning how to blow the blood of trumpets. What's the royal trumpet thing? What's all the thing? The king is coming. It's so exciting. It's crazy. This is a dream come true. It's the same thing now. Imagine you meet somebody on Mitzrayim. You have a few minutes talking to him. Imagine you don't tell him Mashiach is here. Mashiach is here. The Rebbe is Mashiach and he's here. He told us the Eibishter sent him. He's Mashiach. He's here. He's on the scene. He's just waiting for us to get ready. He's waiting for us to greet him. He's waiting for us to be excited, for us to be doing all the things that it means to get ready. The king should come to have a people, to have a reception. And we're all busy doing great things. We're being great citizens. But you're not talking about the king. We need to do Kabbalah's Panei Mashiach Sakenu. We need to get ready to actually greet Mashiach. It's a whole different ballpark. It's not the same mitzvahs. It's on steroids. It's a whole different mitzvah. So, like the Rebbe says, this Nikuda, the Rebbe says, this Nikuda, what does it mean? That every single thing you do is permeated with the Nikuda, how this leads to greeting Mashiach. There's nothing anybody in this town is doing from morning to night that is not permeated with this point. It's the most amazing news. Everything is different. What's different about it? Everything is different about Shlichus now. Everything is different. It's an entirely new Shlichus. And the only way to be excited about this is to talk about it, to bring about it, talk with your friends about it, talk to Mashpiyim, talk with your students, whoever it is. This is what it's about. You can't talk about it enough. And if you look back to the Fabrengens in those times, looking on Beis and on Gimel and Daled, you can watch videos. This is what people spoke about. Watch the Fabrengens in 770. People cautioned this. This was the date. And why should things be any different now? We're only closer to the Geulah now. It's only more imminent. It's only more exciting. And it's all happening right here, right now. And it's up to us. The moment we decide to do it, like the Rebbe says, Chas Nissen, you'll have 10 people in action to bring tell the Eibishter to bring the Geulah. And the Rebbe says, we'll have 8 fair the dry. We'll come up with the 8 of us Mizaltan via Zemizolostan. And get everyone excited, and we'll make it happen. May it be speedily in our days.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much for being with us today on episode 6. I hope that this not only opens your heart, but opens your mind, and it influences you to go out into a world, your family, your friends, your community, to talk about Mashiach, to make Mashiach a focus in our life. Not only the redemption, but also the Redeemer, Melech HaMashiach, should be a focus. We should rally behind the Melech, the King. And we should have very, very soon the coronation of Melech HaMashiach so that he can have the ability, the power, the authority, everything that he needs to fulfill his Shlichus, which is to take us out of this dark gullus and bring us into this beautiful Geulah. We want Mashiach now.
Amen.
ועד כדי כך המדב גולהום עד עם זול מחי זין יחי המלך